All right, today we're going to tackle something that can instantly make your writing look so much more polished and professional, and that's mastering English capitalization. So, have you ever typed up an email, a report, maybe even just a quick message and thought, this just feels a little bit off? Like it doesn't have that professional edge. Trust me, you're not alone. And the fix? It might be way simpler than you think.
Yup, you guessed it. A lot of the time, the secret to really elevating your writing is all in the details. And getting your capital letters right, it can totally change how clear and, authoritative your message feels.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the two absolute must-know foundations. Then we'll dive into the world of specifics, all those special names. After that, we'll add some finishing touches, and finally, I'm going to show you a super common trap to avoid. Sound good? Let's get started. All right, first up, the two foundations. Think of these as the absolute, non-negotiable rules of the road for English writing. If you get these two right, you are honestly already halfway there. Rule number 1 is about as simple as it gets. Every single time you start a new sentence, a new thought, that very first letter has to be capitalized. It's basically a signal to your reader, like a little green flag that says, hey, a new idea is starting right here. And you can see the difference right away, can't you? See how the capitalized version just feels more structured, more correct? It gives your reader's eye a clear place to start. Okay, now for rule number 2, and this one's a little bit quirky. It's pretty unique to English. No matter where it shows up in a sentence, beginning, middle, or end, the pronoun I always stands tall as a capital letter. Little fun fact, this actually started way back in the day with handwritten texts, just to make that tiny little I stand out so it wouldn't get lost on the page. And again, seeing it side by side really drives the point home. Using a lowercase I when you're talking about yourself it looks like a typo, and it can kind of pull the reader out of what you're saying. The main thing to remember is this: always give yourself a capital I. Okay, we've got the basics down. Let's move on to our next section, where things get a little more specific. We're going to talk about something called proper nouns. And really, you can think of capitalizing them as a sign of respect. It's how we acknowledge the unique identity of a person, a place, or a thing. So what is a proper noun exactly? Well, it's not just any old noun. It's the specific official name or title of something. It's the difference between talking about a city in general and talking about the one and only Paris. And here we have that exact example. See, Paris isn't just any city, it's a unique place on the map. So it gets that capital letter to set it apart from the generic idea of a city. And believe me, this rule covers a lot of ground. We're talking about specific names of people like Mona, places like London, big organizations like Microsoft, languages like French, nationalities like Emirati, and even major historical events like World War II. If it has a specific, official name, it gets a capital. And we're not done yet. This rule about being specific also applies to time. We capitalize the names of days, months, and holidays because, think about it, they are unique, named points on our calendar. So for example, you wouldn't just say you're traveling on Friday. No, you're traveling on Friday, a specific, named day. Same thing for December. These are proper nouns, just like London or Mona. But, and this is a big but, here's a spot where a lot of people get tripped up. The seasons, summer, winter, spring, fall, are generally not capitalized. We treat them as common nouns. The only time you'd capitalize a season is if it's part of an official title, like the Winter Olympics. All right, amazing. You've got the foundations down. You know all about specifics. Now it's time for the finishing touches. These are the little rules that really separate good writing from great writing. Okay, let's talk about titles. For books, articles, even just the subject line of an email, there's a special style here. You always capitalize the very first word and the very last word, and for everything in between, you capitalize the major words, like nouns, verbs, and adjectives. The small connecting words like of, in, or and, they usually stay lowercase. Just look at the difference here. The power of positive thinking immediately stands out as a proper title, doesn't it? The other version just looks like a regular old phrase. This style is called title case, and it adds a touch of class and professionalism for sure. Here's another one that's a bit more nuanced. When you're quoting someone and what you're quoting is a complete sentence on its own, you've got to capitalize that first word inside the quotation marks. And this slide shows that distinction perfectly. In that first example, "we should start now" is a full sentence, so the "we" is capitalized. But look at the second one. "A big mistake" is just a piece of a sentence, a fragment, so the "a" stays lowercase. The key question to ask yourself is the part inside the quotes a complete bot? Okay, last section. Let's talk about a really common trap, something a lot of people do, even when they have the best intentions. See, knowing when not to use a capital letter is just as important as knowing when you should. Oh man, we've all seen this, right? An email or a comment that looks exactly like this. Now, the person writing it probably thinks they're adding emphasis, but what it really feels like is that they're shouting. It's tough to read, and in any kind of formal writing, it just comes across as unprofessional. So, if there's one big idea I want you to take away from all this, it's this. Think of capital letters as signposts for your reader. They're not just there for decoration or for yelling, they have a job to do. They guide your reader, telling them, hey, a sentence starts here, or this name is important, or this is a title. Using them correctly shows that you care about your writing and that you want to be clear. So I have a question for you. What's one thing you're going to write today? An email, a note, maybe a social media post, where you can apply these rules with some newfound confidence. Give it a shot.